everyone, my name is Alice. Welcome to my channel. Today we will be going through how I do my eyeshadow. This is my go-to formula, and as you'll see probably in future videos, that the way I do it is, like I said, quite formulaic. This tutorial is meant for people with eye shapes that are similar to mine, so slightly hooded, or even people with monolids. I hope that you learned something from it, and I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. To begin, I want you to take a look in the mirror and see how your eye moves and the different components of your eye. Try different angles, try looking at the mirror straight on, from the bottom, from the top, from the side. From there, you'll be able to identify where the different components are. So we have the crease, which is kind of where the brow bone dips, where my pen was. And then you'll also see that for me, I have this fold. So the fold is not probably going to be your crease. For me, for example, it changes depending on the mood of my eye. What I like to do to start is to build out the different components and structure of my eye a little bit more, and then add to that. So first I'm starting by curling my eyelashes. This will help me identify where my eye lifts or where I would like my eye to lift, as opposed to following the line of my lash line, which naturally goes down. Then I'm going to start with some eyeliner at the outer corner. So I'm using a cream eyeliner or gel eyeliner. Really any eyeliner that's smudgeable will do. And I'm just using a dark brown here. I'm only putting it on the outer third because I don't want to close out my eye. I want to give it a little bit more shape and lift without it being too harsh. So after placing the color, I'm going to use a dense brush, so something like the one I'm showing you here, and it has to be small enough, and just smudge that out along the outer third of your eye and slowly blending it upwards and outwards. I would also recommend just checking in by looking in the mirror straight on every once in a while, so you kind of get a sense of what that eyeliner looks like with your eyes open. One way that might help you understand where to place that eyeshadow, where to lift, is to use a straight edge and then just point upwards from your nose to the outer edge of your brow. Next, using a fluffy blending brush, I'm dipping into a medium toned eyeshadow and just the tip onto the eyeshadow pan so that the edges are free of eyeshadow. This will help with the blending as well. So just going in kind of the outer third or the outer corners, and then going into the crease. So I'm following where my eye socket is, or where the brow bone dips. So again, to be able to find that, you could use your fingers, you could use the end of your brush, and then just follow along underneath the brow bone, and that's kind of where you want that eyeshadow to be. And remember to do this with your eyes relaxed. So don't raise your eyebrows when you're doing this. Try looking straight on in the mirror and then identifying where that is and then applying shadow there. If you want to have the blend a little bit smoother, then you could raise your eyebrows to flatten out the surface so that you get that smooth blend. You also want the eyeshadow to be diffused upwards and outwards, almost into the temple if you can. What this is doing really is to add a bit more structure and depth, to emphasize where the brow bone or your bone naturally dips, or where you want to create the illusion of your bones dipping. Then we're moving on to the lid shade and using a dense flat brush, which is great for packing. I'm going to dip into the eyeshadow that is lighter than my crease shade. So I'd like to use a shimmery color, but it could be a matte shade as well. Just on one side and flat on the brush. So what I'm doing now is in a pressing or packing motion, saturating that eyeshadow onto my lid, or the part of the lid where it would move, or right under the crease shade. Don't be afraid to go a little bit higher than you think. So what I like to do, for example, is to ignore the fold I mentioned earlier and go above that, pretty much all the way to right underneath the brow bone. And then if you have any harsh lines, you could just take your blending brush and blend that out. Next, we're going to darken the outer corner to bring a little bit more dimension and to make the look a little bit smokier. So you could use a smaller fluffy brush, or if you're really lazy like me, you could just take the edge of your eyeshadow brush that you use for the lid and just place the eyeshadow on the edge of the brush to give yourself a little bit more control. You want to use a darker color to deepen out that outer corner. So you pretty much want to place that eyeshadow right above where the eyeliner we put down. Blend that in and then blend it into the crease color and then blend it up and a little bit into the crease as well. This next part is optional, but I also like to put eyeshadow on my lower lash line. So it's the same concept. I want to emphasize the outer third. So I would take a smaller, denser brush and put it into the darker color, or to start off, the medium shade that we used in the crease will work as well. And then just smudge that along the lower lash line. What this will also do is make the look more forgiving as it wears. So if your eyeliner smudges or if your mascara smudges a little bit, there's some sort of powder down there to catch it and blend it in so it looks like intentional smudging, which it kind of is. Remembering to check what the eyeshadow looks like when you look straight on into the mirror and relaxed. Because sometimes you might have to go a little bit higher for that eyeshadow to show up to give you that upturned effect. Now that you have the basic structure of your eye, I like to go in and just emphasize or tweak things a little, adjusting things as I look at the eyeshadow look in different angles. So for example, deepening the crease color or the outer corner, doing a little bit more blending, maybe adding a little bit more eyeshadow or eyeliner. To intensify the shimmer shade on my mobile lid, I sometimes would use a finger to press on the eyeshadow. That just gives me a little bit more saturation and emphasis. I also typically do one last coat of eyeliner last after I've applied all the eyeshadow, because this helps the darkness of the eyeliner stand out a little bit more, not get washed out or blended away. So what I like to do is, again, to emphasize the outer third, and for the rest of the line or the lash line, just tight line, or putting eyeliner underneath the eyelashes. If you want a more cat eye look, then you could also go in all the way to the inner corner, but something to note is that that tends to smudge a little bit. Again, when doing eyeliner, make sure you look straight ahead into the mirror to know what your eyes look like when they are relaxed and looking straight forward. This might mean that you need to work on the placement of your eyeliner, when you are looking straight at the mirror and not with your eyes closed or your eyelids taut. Smudging out the eyeliner will also make the look a little bit more forgiving, and sometimes it could go a little bit more winged than I was expecting, but that's okay too. This next step is also optional, but I like to highlight the inner corner of my eyes with a small brush, or sometimes just my fingers, as well as the center of my lid to bring out the shape of my eye, and a little bit on the brow bone. Then I would finish off with generous coats of mascara. I like to focus again on the outer third. I sometimes also like to add a bit of mascara on my lower lash line as well. And to do that, what I like to do is tilt my chin down and then tilt my mirror on the side so I could see the profile of my lower lashes. It gives me a little bit more control. This is optional if you have a tendency for mascara to smudge on your lower lashes. Something extra that I like to do is line my lower waterline. To do this, I don't use a dark color. I like to use a shimmer color or a medium tone with some shift so it actually catches the light, but also gives depth at the same time. So that's the complete look on one eye. Hope you enjoy. Now that we're done with the tutorial, I wanted to share a bit of reflection that I've had recently about the way I apply my eyeshadow. So I first learned how to do makeup through YouTube, the early days of YouTube especially, and most of the videos that I watched were on Caucasian eyes, meaning eyes that had a little bit more prominent creases, and it was, in a sense, more formulaic, and there's a certain look that we are trying to achieve with something that emphasizes your crease, something that's a little bit more upturned. And I think over the years, I've maybe been subconsciously westernizing my eyes in a way, in the way that I apply my eyeshadow. To be honest, I don't really know what to do with that conclusion. You might notice that the look that I achieve with my eyeshadow application is a little bit different than, for example, what you see in Asia, in like K-beauty tutorials and things like that. I think what I'm gonna try and do is to explore different techniques and playing around with my eye shape a little bit more to see if there's a slightly different look that I could go for. I noticed in Asian eyeshadow application techniques, most of the color is concentrated along the lash line, and there's a little bit less emphasis on trying to turn your eyes upward in that like triangular cat eye look. It goes more sideways. I also noticed that in especially Chinese type of application, they tend to embrace kind of the more innocent look when your eyes kind of turn downwards. So I think that would be really fun to try. I would love to hear about your thoughts on this, so leave your comments down below in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful somehow, especially when it comes to placing your eyeshadow. The emphasis is really to help you explore your own eye shape and discover how you like to apply eyeshadow. It's not going to be on the product. It's probably not going to be the same formula for you as it is for me. But for beginners especially, I hope this is a good starting point. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope to see you soon. Have a great day.